Welcome to the Math of Wealth.
We are going to completely debunk traditional banking advice and show you exactly what the numbers actually say about growing your money. So, let's get right into it.
It's a feeling we've all had, right? You look around and wonder why everyone else just seems to be pulling ahead. Well, believe it or not, your salary is actually not the problem here. The truth is, it's the invisible mathematical rules everyone else is using. They aren't just working harder, they're applying an entirely different set of financial mechanics to their daily lives.
All right, let's hit our first pillar. Section 1, Mindset. Real versus fake wealth. There's an absolutely massive difference between actual financial freedom and those innocent little habits that are secretly draining your bank account just to look fake rich. Real wealth is quiet, It's built on assets and compounding interest just working away in the background. Fake wealth is loud. It's completely driven by status, depreciating liabilities, and constant spending that traps you in this endless paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. Now, here is a wild reality check. Most people trap a massive 84% of their income in just 6 core areas. Things like housing, transportation, and food. Think about that for a second. If you don't control these specific categories, you literally have almost nothing left over to actually build your future. Are you funding your future, or are you just funding an expensive lifestyle that offers zero real return?
So, what's the first big goal? It's hitting that very first $10,000 net worth milestone. Why? Because the real math shows this is the exact moment where the minimum threshold of compounding interest begins to actually work for you rather than you just constantly working for your money. It's definitely the hardest milestone to reach, but it is the ultimate springboard.
Okay, Section 2, the real math on debt, and exactly what the banks aren't telling you. We absolutely have to tackle this highly debated question. Is the traditional Dave Ramsey-style advice of aggressively paying off all your debt actually better than the math of investing? Conventional wisdom tells us all debt is a localized emergency. But when you look at the raw numbers, comparing low-interest debt against historical market returns, aggressively paying off the bank might actually be costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost compounding over your lifetime. Because the wealthy, they play a completely contrarian game here. They use specific methods, like taking out low-interest loans to acquire income-producing real estate, to actually leverage debt and profit from inflation. While average earners are just getting crushed by inflation, the wealthy use smart debt to acquire appreciating assets. They're essentially letting inflation eat away the true cost of what they owe.
And here's the uncomfortable truth about how the banking system actually operates. They treat you entirely differently depending on your net worth tier. At $45, you get hit with fees. At $100,000, you get pitched products that benefit the bank. But at $5 million, the doors swing wide open to entirely different, highly favorable rules. The system is literally designed to reward you only when you stop playing by the traditional rules.
Moving right along to Section 3, controversial purchasing rules. Basically, stop doing what everyone else is doing. Here is a mathematical truth that bothers a lot of people. Paying cash for your next car is usually a massive mistake, no matter what traditional advice tells you. Tying up tens of thousands of dollars of your liquid capital into a rapidly depreciating piece of metal just removes that money completely from your wealth-building ecosystem. When you run the side-by-side math of buying, financing, and leasing, looking ahead to 2026, a pretty surprising reality emerges. You can calculate exactly how much car you can actually afford based on your salary right now. By running those real numbers, it becomes crystal clear how strategically financing, or even leasing in very specific scenarios, frees up your capital to be invested into assets that actually appreciate, easily covering the cost of the vehicle's interest. Before making those big, heavy purchases you almost always end up regretting, take a hard look at these 16 everyday money pits you should immediately stop funding. We're talking things like unused ab subscriptions or overpriced brand name staples. As prices continue to spike, these turn into massive financial leaks. Look, cutting these out isn't about deprivation. It's about reallocating your resources to things that actually build your net worth. All right, Section 4, the ultimate financial debate. Housing. Renting versus buying. So, rushing to buy a house could actually mean your money is trapped when it could be working much, much harder elsewhere. We are all conditioned to think renting is just throwing money away, right? But when you factor in property taxes, maintenance, interest, and the huge opportunity cost of your down payment, the real math often points to renting and aggressively investing the difference as a vastly superior wealth builder in a lot of markets.
And this is exactly why locking yourself into a 15-year mortgage or constantly throwing extra money toward your principal is actually holding you back. You are basically burying your liquid cash into the walls of a house, where it earns a flat 0% rate of return. It might feel safe, but mathematically, you are totally starving your investment portfolio of the capital it desperately needs to grow.
So rather than waiting forever for rates to drop, look at the real math of investing versus paying off your mortgage. By taking that extra cash you would have used to aggressively pay down your 30-year loan and putting it into an index fund instead, your investment balance will eventually cross over and totally outpace your remaining mortgage. You've essentially erased your mortgage without ever losing access to your cash.
Okay, final stretch. Section 5. Investing and what actually works.
Just look at the massive long-term wealth difference between active trading and simply letting boring index funds do all the heavy lifting. The excitement of day trading and swing trading almost always results in underperformance and massive tax burdens. Meanwhile, the incredibly boring index investor just quietly captures the entire upward mobility of the market, completely crushing the active traders over a long timeline.
Now, choosing the right retirement vehicle comes with a pretty shocking truth. You actually shouldn't always max out your traditional 401k. I know, crazy, right? While getting that employer match is absolutely essential, locking all your excess capital into a vehicle you can't touch for decades without massive penalties strictly limits your ability to pivot, buy real estate, or invest in other high-yield opportunities today. Let's break down the real math year by year, investing just $500 a month for 25 years. In the early years, yeah, it feels incredibly slow. But as time goes on, the interest literally starts earning interest. This timeline proves once and for all that you do not need a massive salary to become wealthy. You just need to let your money work for you without interrupting it. The power of compounding is literally staggering. An overlooked $4,400 account can quietly balloon into over $500,000 over a standard working career. When you find the right vehicles and just leave the money alone for a few decades, the compounding does all the heavy lifting for you. Time in the market is your ultimate multiplier.
So how do we put this all together? If you want to fix your finances in the next 3 months, you need to follow this exact step-by-step sequence. First, establish your baseline safety net. Second, capture that free employer match. Third, aggressively tackle any toxic debt. And finally, direct the flow of your money straight into those boring wealth-building index funds. It's a sequence, not a guessing game.
Based on all the real math we just explored, you really have to ask yourself, are you ready to hit those financial milestones and become totally free in the next 5 to 10 years? We've shown you the logic, the undeniable math on debt, and the absolute truth about where your money should actually go. So, the ultimate question is, will you keep funding a fake lifestyle, or are you ready to finally let the math work for you?
1, 2, make sure to hit that subscribe button.